Hey, hey, hey! What's going on, awesome people? Joshua Partugi here, back with you again, folks. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome on board to my channel if this is your first time visiting this channel. Welcome to the community of passionate changemakers. In today's video, we will talk about something fundamental. Let's talk about products. What is a product, by the way? How do we know if something is a product or not a product? How do we know when something like a rock, for example, is a product or not a product? I always open any Scrum training with this question to set a context to everyone that Scrum is a framework for managing a product rather than a methodology for managing a project, as some people understand. This topic that we are going to discuss today may sound too basic for some people, but understanding the fundamentals can affect the Scrum effectiveness at our organization. Many videos I will upload in the future will refer to this video you're currently watching right now. So if you're interested in learning the fundamentals that can make your Scrum more effective, stay tuned until the end of this video. I will be back in a few more seconds right after this one. Knowing what our organization defines as a product or knowing what product our organization actually delivers is important when we use Scrum, because Scrum is not a silver bullet. Yes, you heard me right. Scrum is not a silver bullet. Scrum is a framework specifically designed for developing products. Scrum has always been about product development since it was introduced to the world. Scrum is not a framework limited to only software development though, even though it's quite popular in the software development community. Scrum has been used to develop electric cars, vaccines, services, and Scrum has been used in non-software development contexts too, such as marketing, advertising, regulatory affairs, public policies, church, and of course, many others. When we use Scrum, what we define as a product will define who should be the product owner in the Scrum team. It will influence the product goal and the shape of the product backlog. It will influence how a good sprint goal looks like. It will define what the Scrum team needs to do to deliver a releasable increment every single sprint. And as we know, this checklist is called the definition of done. It will define who should be the developers in the Scrum team. And in Scrum, the developers are not limited to only people who write the software code. It will affect the Scrum effectiveness in the organization. And as we know, the Scrum Master is accountable for the Scrum effectiveness in the organization. And it will guide us how to scale Scrum when there are multiple Scrum teams or when there are more than 10 developers developing one integrated product. Beyond Scrum itself, understanding what our organization defines as a product will give us guidance on how we're going to monetize the product, how we are going to market the product, what are the legal aspects required to get our product into the market, and it will give us guidance in so many more situations. Now, let's look at definitions of a product according to dictionary and also Scrum Guide. According to Merriam-Webster Dictionary, a product is something that is made or grown to be sold or used. Something that is the result of a process. This is a very broad and generic definition of a product according to a dictionary. The keyword here is sold or used. From this definition, we can say that a product is developed to generate money and to be used by users. Scrum Guide defines product more specifically. According to Scrum Guide, a product is a vehicle to deliver value. It has a clear boundary, known stakeholders, well-defined users or customers. A product could be a service, a physical product, or something more abstract. When we look at a product, it is created for a certain purpose. That purpose is one of the boundaries for the product. In the product management community, there is a common understanding that a product is created to solve a problem. Oftentimes, what they refer to as a product is a digital or a technology product. If we look at products more broadly, not every product is created to solve a problem. An alcoholic drink, for example, may not necessarily be created to solve a problem. Well, okay, in some cultures, it may help solve the world's biggest problems when people meet at a bar. But in other cultures, it may create or introduce a new problem. Some products are created to entertain people rather than for solving a problem. For example, games or movies. Not everyone who plays games or watches movies is because they have a problem. Many of them just want to be entertained regardless of whether they have a problem at that time. Some products are created to impress other people, for example, jewelry or gemstones. Some products are deliberately created and marketed so that it can be passed down to the next generation. An expensive Swiss watch is one of those examples. So something can be called as a product when it has a clear purpose for the people who will be buying or using that product. The purpose of the product is written on the Scrum team's product vision and product goal. The product vision and the product goal are two of the boundaries of a product. Now, if a product has a clear purpose, what form does a product need to have as such it can be called as a product? Well, a product can take any form really. A product does not need to have a physical form. A product can be intangible. An insurance product may not have a physical form. An experience from seeing new places that are sold by travel or tourism companies is another example of an intangible product. A product can also be abstract. A service that is sold by consultants can be considered as an abstract product. A product can be inside another product. A tire can be sold as a product not only to a car manufacturer, but also to an existing vehicle owner. But a tire cannot function by itself. It requires a vehicle for it to be functioning as intended. An operating system is another example of a product that requires another product for it to be functioning. It requires a computer. One product can bundle many other products, like an office suite that is currently installed on your computer, consisting of other products like a word processor, a slide presentation, a spreadsheet, etc. A gaming platform is another example of a product consisting of many other products. And a product may consist of different types of products inside it. Banking products like home loans may consist of intangible products such as the interest rate, repayment procedure, and also digital products such as the mobile banking application to view the progress of the home loan repayment. In many contexts, for example, like banks or insurance companies or government, the software the IT department develops is only a component for the product. A product can be integrated to another product, even though it can function by itself as a standalone product. A social media product or an online payment system that provides an application programming interface so that other products can access its data or its functionality is one of those examples. A product is however the producer wants the product to be perceived in the market. There is a famous coffee roaster company who said that their product is the experience of being inside their cafe instead of the coffee drink people actually buy. One university may say its graduates are the product, but another university may say that its syllabus and the facilities in the universities is the product. Because a product is how the producer wants the product to be perceived in the market, there is no universal or single form for a product. In fact, there is a social media company in the market who considers us, the user of their product, as a product to be sold to their advertisers. Interesting, right? Besides a form, as written on Scrum Guide, a product will have people who have a stake on it. On one side, the producer side, people who are funding the development of the product, both the internal leaders or the external investors, have a stake in the product. People from legal, marketing, and risk department may have a stake in the product also. The government may also be the stakeholder for the product, if the producer is in a regulated industry like the health or financial industry. Every product will have a different composition and different number of stakeholders. On the other spectrum, people who will buy the product or the customer and people who will use the product or the consumer have a stake in the product too. They may request what functionality should go into the product, and the producer may need to listen to the customer because the customer is the source of the money. In some contexts, the customer and the consumer are the same person, while in some other contexts, the customer is different to the consumer. For example, when I'm purchasing a car that I will use for myself, I'm both the customer and also the consumer of that car. But when I'm purchasing a toy for my little daughter, I'm the customer while my daughter is the consumer for that toy. Besides understanding what product we are developing, understanding who is our customer, who is our consumer, and whether the customer and the consumer are different individuals or different entities is also important when we use Scrum. Whenever there is a consumer and a transaction between a customer and a producer, there is a product in between. So we can say that a product involves a transaction. According to Scrum Guide, a product is a vehicle to deliver value. The producer believes the product they developed will be purchased by the customers and drive money into their bank account. And on the other side, the customer will purchase that product if they know it will be valuable for them. So when there is a product, there is value generated both for the producer and also the customer. When we use Scrum, value both for the producer and for the customer should be the key success indicator. Every type of organization has a different definition of value. For a profit-based organization, well, of course, value means profit. For a government institution, value does not mean profit because any government institution does not exist to make a profit. It exists to serve the public. In some government institutions, value may mean national economic growth, rate of unemployment, income equality, and of course, many others. For a non-governmental organization or NGO, value may mean the amount of donations earned versus contribution back to the community or the society they serve. Whatever value means for our organization, value measures must be defined as the success indicator before using Scrum. Even though some products may only be created to exist for a short time period, for example, a marketing campaign product may only be developed to exist for a relatively short time period. But in general, a product has a life cycle that is relatively longer than a project. For a product that will be used internally by the employees, it is possible that the product life cycle ends when the product no longer creates value for the company or for the employees using that product. That is why we see some companies in the market modernize or redevelop their legacy internal product with a newer technology. For example, we can see many banks have rewrote their legacy core applications, which used to run on mainframe systems, to use a more modern technology. For a commercial product, the product lifecycle usually ends when there are no more customers who want to purchase the product, because maybe people have found better alternatives that are created by another producer. A product is going to be continuously developed and sustained by the producer as long as it still creates value for the producer and also for the customer. The longer the product is sustained in the market, the longer its life cycle. According to Scrum Guide version 2020, a product has boundaries. As we learned earlier, product vision and product goal are two of the boundaries for a product. People coming from project management backgrounds sometimes have an assumption that product development with Scrum is a never-ending project. It has no defined timeline. Every product development has different boundaries. These boundaries are quite often defined by the context where the producers belong. For some organizations, the date to release can be one of the boundaries. Some companies have a regular release cycle, for example, every year or every 6 months or every quarter. Another boundary may be the amount of funding or budget that the producer or the investors want to put in for developing the product. Legal aspects and risk profiles can be one of the boundaries for the product also. A release date for the product or the amount of budget for developing the product can be set as boundaries when using Scrum. When these boundaries exist, the amount of value generated within those boundaries is still the key success indicator of Scrum. The scope of work needs to be negotiable when release date and budget exist as boundaries. The product owner needs to be entrepreneurial whenever these boundaries are in place. So let's go back to the initial question that I asked at the beginning of this video. What is a product? From this video, we have learned that a product has a purpose, it has a clear vision why it is made, a product has consumers who will use it, a product has customers who will purchase it, a product creates value for the consumer, the customer, and also for the producer. A product lifecycle is generally longer than a project lifecycle. A product will be continuously developed and funded as long as it still creates value. Everyone in the producer's organization must know and have a shared agreement on what they define as a product. Folks, hopefully this video can give you insights to reorient yourself towards product management when using Scrum. Just remember, when using Scrum, the focus should always be about developing a product that is purposeful and will continuously drive value for the consumer, the customer, and also for the producer. Whenever using Scrum, the focus should always be about outcome over outputs. Success in Scrum is not about the amount of product backlog items completed by the Scrum team. Success in Scrum is about how much value the producer delivers to the consumer, the customer, and to themselves. These outcome and value measures should be reviewed during every sprint review. So that is all from me today, folks. I know this was quite a long video. I wanted to set this video as a foundation for our future conversation on this channel about any topics related to Scrum. So I really thank you for staying until the end of this video and investing your time watching this video. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, click that subscribe button down below so that you will not miss any videos I will upload in the future. If you think today's video is insightful, don't hesitate to click that like button down below also. I really appreciate it, folks. See you until my next video. For those of you who will be attending my Scrum training in a few more days, I'm looking forward to having a great conversation with you on maximizing value from a product using Scrum. Until then, don't forget to stay awesome.